At our family's Sunday meal, my niece gave a dismissive eye roll and remarked, "Mom claims you can't afford genuine jewelry." Then she reached for my necklace, a cherished gift from our grandmother, and broke it in two as laughter erupted around the table. That night marked the end of 2 years of financially supporting their precious daughter. I always sensed Rachel harbored resentment toward me, but I never imagined she'd teach her daughter to treat me with such disdain. The signs were there, though. Subtle digs at family events, my name omitted from thank you notes, my offers of help brushed off with a forced grin. It wasn't until that Sunday dinner that everything fell into place. And when it did, I ensured they'd never forget it. Rachel is my only sibling. Growing up, we weren't particularly tight, but I believed family ties held weight. I overlooked a lot over the years, her snide remarks, the way she turned every kind gesture into something I supposedly did for clout. I kept helping regardless because that's how we were raised, support family even when they don't reciprocate. Especially then. Haley, her 21-year-old daughter, is Rachel's golden child, adored since birth. Rules never applied to her. If she got into trouble, someone else was to blame. If she flunked a course, the professor had it out for her. I used to think she was just a pampered kid who'd eventually mature. Now I see you don't outgrow behavior when your mother rewards it. 2 years back, Haley declared she couldn't stay under her parents' roof anymore, citing her mental well-being. Rachel called me, nearly in tears, saying they couldn't afford to set her up in her own place, not with Thomas, her husband, barely working since his injury. I offered to help without hesitation. For 2 years, I covered her rent silently every month. I paid because I thought it mattered, believing stability might help Haley become a better person. She never once expressed gratitude. That Sunday, the vibe felt wrong the moment I stepped in. Haley shot me a smug glance. Rachel didn't bother with a hello. Thomas, as usual, stayed quiet in the corner like he was just trying to survive the day. I wore Grandma Carol's necklace, as I always did for family gatherings, a delicate gold chain with a green gem. It wasn't valuable in dollars, but it meant everything to me. Grandma gave it to me when I was 13, saying she wanted me to have something of hers. She chose me, not Rachel. Midway through dinner, as we all pretended to be a normal family, Haley leaned back, chewed lazily, and announced loudly, "Mom says you're too broke for real jewelry." I froze, thinking I'd misheard. Then she reached over, yanked the necklace from my neck, and snapped it. The chain broke, the emerald landed in my mashed potatoes, and Haley sat back like she just flicked away a bug. Rachel laughed, not nervously, but like it was a planned joke. Even Thomas stayed silent, eyes fixed on his plate. I stood, picked up the broken chain, and tucked it into my hand. Without a word, I walked out. No tears, no shouting, just the start of something I should have done long ago. The next morning, I contacted Haley's landlord and informed him September would be my final payment. I gave her 30 days, no exceptions. I didn't tell them. I wanted them to learn the way they always treated me, like I was irrelevant, but that was just the start. I went silent after that dinner, no warnings, no hints. I let the payment stop just as they'd let respect for me fade. By October 1st, I knew the quiet would break. That's when their world would start to unravel. It began just before noon. I was at work nursing cold coffee and sorting emails when my phone buzzed. Rachel called first. I ignored it. Then Haley. Then Rachel again. 5 calls in 10 minutes. I flipped the phone face down and let it ring out. The first text was polite, likely her attempt at tact. "Hey, not sure if you forgot, but Haley's landlord says the rent didn't go through. Can you check?" 5 minutes later, another, Haley's panicking. She got a warning notice. "This is serious." Then a third, "Emily, this isn't a game. What's going on?" I didn't reply. I wanted the silence to linger, to let them stew in uncertainty. The next day, more calls, 2 from Rachel, 1 from Thomas's number. For some reason, I answered his. Maybe because I knew it'd throw Rachel off if I picked up when she wasn't in control. She didn't bother with pleasantries. "So you're really punishing her over a dumb joke? That's low, even for you." I let her rant. She claimed Haley was crushed, humiliated, facing eviction, and that I was making Rachel look like a failure as a mother. Then she said something that chilled me. "You're overreacting because you're jealous." I could have snapped, but I didn't. I calmly reminded her I'd paid Haley's rent for 2 years, covered the deposit, the internet, even furniture, giving her the independence Rachel bragged about, though Haley never earned it. I reminded her how Haley broke Grandma's necklace and insulted me, and they all laughed. No one defended me, not even Rachel. Silence followed, the kind that comes before someone starts rationalizing. She tried to downplay it, saying Haley was just being dramatic, that it wasn't a big deal. I told her, "I'm done. It's not my problem anymore. She backpedaled, promising Haley would apologize, that they'd make it right. But I knew they wouldn't. They were only desperate because they'd lost something they never valued. By week's end, Haley was out. The landlord, Alan, who I'd dealt with directly, called me. He was kind but firm, saying he didn't want to evict a young woman, but rent was rent. She hadn't paid and wasn't responding. He asked if I'd step in. I said no, clear and final. Days later, Haley's Instagram shifted. Gone were the city selfies and brunch posts. Suddenly, she was back in her childhood bedroom, posting filtered cat pics, pretending nothing had changed. But it had. She knew it. So did I. Rachel texted one last time. Hope you're satisfied. She's got nowhere to go and no money. You caused this. No, they caused it, and I wasn't done yet. 2 weeks after Haley returned to her pink childhood room, word started spreading. Not from Rachel. She hadn't dared contact me since the rent stopped. But from Jenna, our cousin who worked with Rachel at the community center. Jenna had a knack for overhearing what wasn't meant for her and sharing it shamelessly. Apparently, Haley's return had turned their home into a drama fest. Nightly shouting matches, slamming doors, Haley calling Rachel overbearing, Rachel calling Haley ungrateful. One night, Rachel reportedly snapped that Haley should have moved in with her dear Aunt Emily if she loved playing the victim so much. Haley shot back that at least I had a job. Thomas, predictably, stayed mute. Haley made one last desperate move. She went to the landlord, claiming I'd made an error, that I'd surely cover October's rent. She spun a tale about me being scatterbrained under pressure. But Alan, who knew me as a reliable payer, didn't buy it. He showed her the lease cancellation, told her the locks would change. Jenna said Haley came home with 3 trash bags and a cracked phone screen. No apartment, no money, no plan. That's when I made my next move. Rachel didn't realize I'd also been quietly paying off their second car loan for 2 years. It was their backup vehicle, used for Thomas's doctor visits and Rachel's part-time shifts. When their disability checks fell short, I set up auto pay. No one asked, no one thanked me, but I did it. Now I stopped it, canceled the payment in late October, said nothing, and waited. A month later, Jenna told me Rachel got a default notice. The car was at risk of repossession, and they were clueless. Rachel tore through the house, raging about financial betrayal, blaming Thomas for not noticing. She even blamed him for not keeping Emily happy, whatever that meant. She texted me, "Emily, we need to talk. This isn't about Haley anymore. Taking the car is cruel." I didn't respond. A week later, the repo team arrived at dawn. Neighbors saw Rachel in her bathrobe, yelling at the driver, who just pointed to the paperwork. Haley filmed it, posting a rant about backstabbing family, but the comments weren't kind. Some relatives remembered my help with her tuition. Cousins chimed in, exposing Rachel's narrative. With the car gone, their bills piled up. The furnace started failing, their savings nearly gone. Family and friends began calling me, Thomas's brother, aunts, neighbors, asking what happened. I told the truth. The rent, the necklace, the laughter. Nearly everyone said, "You did more than enough, Emily." But I wasn't finished. What Rachel didn't know, what she'd forgotten, was one final piece she thought she still controlled. And I was about to take that, too. By November, the fallout was clear. The car was gone, Rachel and Haley's fights were constant, and Haley was sleeping till noon, avoiding everyone. Rachel swung between fury and denial. She sent messages through friends, claiming Thomas was suffering without the car, that Haley might drop her online classes again. Then came a message via Jenna. Rachel was threatening to contest Grandma's will with a lawyer. Here's what most of the family didn't know, and Rachel clearly forgot. When Grandma Carol passed, she left a small trust, low 6 figures, with conditions. She put me in charge of distributing it as needed, not equally, not automatically, but as I saw fit. She trusted me, not Rachel. Only Thomas knew, because I'd used part of the trust for his medical bills years ago, quietly. Now Rachel was making threats. I called the lawyer, told him about her plan. He chuckled, saying she must have forgotten who controls the trust. I had him lock it, halting any disbursements. Then I sent Rachel one message: "Don't even try with the trust. You'll get nothing." Her reply came in 3 minutes: "You self-righteous jerk. You think you're above us because Grandma favored you. You want us to suffer." I read it, then blocked her. The next day, Thomas appeared at my door, looking exhausted, limping, carrying a grocery bag. He asked to come in. I let him. He slid the bag across my table. Inside was Grandma's sewing box, her initials etched on the lid, which I thought was lost. He'd kept it safe despite Rachel's orders to donate it. "Thank you for helping me," he said. "I never agreed with how they treated you, I just didn't know what to do." I asked, "Why now?" He said, "Because you were right to stop. I just wish it hadn't come to this." We sat quietly, then he left. No requests, just gratitude. It meant more than I expected. But Rachel wasn't done. She was plotting something, though she didn't know the next blow wouldn't come from me. It would come from those she deceived for years. I thought Thomas's visit might close the chapter. He'd made peace return something meaningful. For a moment, I hoped the storm was over. I was wrong. A week later, Jenna texted, "Rachel's rewriting the story. Watch out, I didn't understand until Aunt Linda's birthday lunch." The air felt heavy when I arrived, people staring too long, conversations stopping. Rachel was already there, with Haley glued to her phone. Rachel greeted me loudly. "Emily, so glad you're here. We were just discussing generosity." I ignored her and headed to the kitchen. All day, her subtle jabs floated around. Family doesn't abandon each other. Money changes some people. Bitterness can ruin someone. I stayed quiet, watching her spin me as the cold aunt who betrayed her niece. Aunt Linda pulled me aside, asking if it was true. I told her everything, the rent, the necklace, the car, the trust. Her eyes widened. "She broke Carol's necklace," I nodded. Linda just shook her head. Then came the twist Rachel didn't expect. As the lunch ended, Haley's phone rang on speaker. She answered without looking. "Hi, this is Michael from bank about your recent application." She scrambled to mute it, but everyone heard. Haley had tried to open a credit line in my name, using my social security number and email, forging my signature. It failed because of a credit freeze I'd placed years ago. The room went silent. Rachel looked stunned, not angry, just caught. Haley stammered it was a mistake, then bolted. Rachel followed, unraveling. I said nothing. I didn't need to. Relatives who'd eyed me suspiciously now wanted answers. I gave them plain and honest. That night I got 3 apology texts, 2 cousins, one from Linda. Rachel's story collapsed. The real fight, though, was still coming. After the bank incident, Rachel went quiet for 2 days, unusual, worrying. On the 3rd day, she showed up at my door, pounding like she meant to break it. Thomas stood behind her, reluctant, and Haley waited in the car, staring at her phone. Rachel didn't wait for me to speak. "How dare you shame us in front of everyone? You had to turn them against us." I let her vent. She claimed I'd always been jealous of her, of Haley. She said Grandma gave me the trust because she pitied me because I had nothing. Thomas stepped forward, saying my name once, and handed me a folded letter in Grandma's handwriting, dated 6 months before her death. It read, "Emily, if Rachel ever guilts you for saying no, read this. You've done enough. Let those who take without thanks learn to stand." I looked at Thomas. He nodded and turned away. Rachel kept ranting. "You think you're a saint? You cut us off over a cheap necklace." I walked past her to the car, opened Haley's door, and said, "You tried to steal from me. That's not immaturity. That's a crime." She looked away, silent. Rachel stormed over, calling Haley a kid at 21, defending her. I said, "Then stop treating her like one." She spewed more venom, then dragged Haley away, tires squealing as they left. That was it. No calls, no apologies followed. Rachel never repaid me. Haley never thanked me. They didn't change, but they lost access to me, to my help. That hurt them most. They lost their house soon after, unable to keep up with the mortgage, and moved to a rental an hour away. Haley dropped out of school again, took a part-time cafe job, not glamorous, but maybe her first real step. Rachel still spins her story, but more people see through it now. Sometimes you don't need vengeance. You just let the truth breathe, and it cuts deeper than anything else.